thanks for watching 4-Color Commentary. I'm Mark Allen, and this is part 3 of the 3-part video series, Beginnings, to celebrate the new year, 2022. And what this is just about beginnings that I have in my collection, first issues or, or just initial issues that I'm really, for whatever reason, for nostalgia, for great story and art, for the hunt, or all three. Just some number ones that I'm really happy to have in my collection. So we're going to jump right into it so we can finish off with this third video. Going to start with Secret Origins Annual number 1 from 1987. This is starring the Doom Patrol. And what this is a great Paul Kupperberg, John Byrne story about the new Doom Patrol. Some origin stories in there. You have one of those comics that you have multiple copies of. If you find a high-grade copy of it for really cheap, you'll just go ahead and get it. This is one of those for me. I have 5 or 6 copies of this, and just because it's so well done, it's a great story, great John Byrne art. 1987 was when really, for that 86-87 period, when John Byrne made the jump really from Marvel to DC. Well, he was working Marvel as well, but when he made his his foray into DC characters, this is when he hit his stride. This was really the height of John Byrne's art period. But anyway, this is just a favorite book of mine. Really glad to have that in my collection. Next is one that's just totally nostalgic. I got it a couple of years ago at a Comic-Con, comic convention. I believe it was the first Pryor Creek Comic Convention right here in northeastern Oklahoma. But this is Spidey Super Stories number 1. I had only ever seen one other of these in the wild, and I just had to pick it up. It was a great price point, a lot cheaper than generally you'd find it on eBay or places like that. So anyway, Spidey Super Stories number 1. As a kid, I really loved these, and I'd never even seen a number 1, I don't believe, as a kid. So I picked that up just for the nostalgia purposes. And here's another one. Goes along with issues that I find in high grade. I get more than one. This is Star Brand number 1 from 1986. This was, of course, Marvel's New Universe. This was the title that the only title really of the New Universe that I really enjoyed. And I enjoyed it because it was the first comic I can recall that effectively took, what if just a regular guy got superpowers? He wasn't heroic, not really. He was kind of a cad, a user, as far as women are concerned, and so he just wasn't a great guy. And he wasn't mean or hateful or anything like that. He didn't victimize people. He tried to figure out how to use the powers in a great way. But the Star Brand just, to me, told a great story. And I really enjoyed it, and I still like to read it through once every couple of years. Okay? Speaking of John Byrne now, and I still have yet to do that Best John Byrne covers. I'm going to do that one day. But speaking of John Byrne and his 80s foray into DC, here is January 1987 Superman number 1 with that great, again, another yellow background cover, kind of like the Spidey Super Stories. Okay, you got to love those yellow covers, primary colors. The yellow, the red, the blue, the green, it's all there. But this was, the reintroduction or the restart of the Superman ongoing series with a fresh number 1 after many, many issues. John Byrne just did, for me, a great job on Superman. I loved his Superman in Action Comics as well. And so that's just what I saw. I remember seeing that. I was already a big John Byrne fan, and when I saw that, I was just like, that was a no-brainer. Plus, it wasn't just John Byrne. It was Byrne and Austin. John Byrne, Terry Austin, of X-Men greatness, if you will. And so glad to have that one in there as well. Now, talked about last time some of the goofy book comics that we like, goofy heroes. Here is a Lightning comic. I'm going to crack this open just to kind of see if there's something else as far as publishing company we can get from this. Published bi-monthly by Milson Publishing Company. A Lightning comic. This is Todd Holton Super Green Beret #1. Another yellow background cover. The yellow and the green, just awesome stuff there. Another kind of a goofy superhero type / war type story. But again, one of those that, as I talked about, the interest in the goofy books ebbs and flows in the comic book community. And this is just good stuff. It is a Silver Age book. Is a #1, April 1967, for 25 cents. And just some really cool stories in here. Kind of give you an idea of the of some of the artwork in there. So you have some really kind of very serviceable war artwork. Okay. Also some headgear from different headgear in Vietnam. Okay, from features like that the servicemen wore in Vietnam. So, you know, Todd Holton, Super Green Beret, not just Green Beret, Super Green Beret. And you gotta love the smile he has on his face as he's dealing death on, on the battlefield. Okay, so anyway, great kind of goofy stuff there, and gotta enjoy having that. Another one that I'm happy to have. Always enjoyed Marvel's 70s reprints, horror books, horror reprint books. Lots of horror stories from the golden age of Timely, as well as the just barely the pre-months of the Marvel age. Fantastic Four #1 came out in 1961. And so you had those types of reprint stories, as well as sometimes new stories in various horror books in the 70s from Marvel. But this is Vault of Evil #1. The reason I'm happy to have this, any #1s, from, and I have others from Marvel's 70s horror titles, is just because they're so difficult to come by in high grade. And I think it's because people really read these comics back then. Even though they were reprint books, it was about the only way to find those stories back then. And, you know, it's very hard to come by. So, you know, I love having that because finding them in high grade is not easy. Now, here's another, I'll save that. I'll do this one next. Another goofy superhero type book. And it is a Dell title. Let's see what the year of publication is. This one's a little different from what you'd think at first. This is December 1966, Werewolf #1. Now, what this is not a monster book. This werewolf was not a monster, okay? It was not a lupine man, okay? He is a super spy, a superhero super spy, okay? And that is just a black costume that he has on. And so, you know, he is codenamed Werewolf, all right? Give you an idea of some of the art inside. It's serviceable, nothing, you know, nothing special, nothing to write home about, but you know, still serves to move the story forward. And here, let's get a picture of him in his. There's some panels with him in his costume, in his black costume as Werewolf, superhero, super spy. And let's get one more here where he appears as totally black. So from behind, he appears as totally black. I can see where that might be a bit unnerving, you know, on the you know, out there as he's running a secret mission. So Werewolf #1 from Dell, 1966. And then this next one that I was saving. This is a book that I got years ago, several years ago. A woman who knew I was a comic book fan and had some knowledge brought me some comic books. She had a job. What she did, it was more of a hobby. But she, on the side of her regular job, she would clean out old houses and barns for people who owned them and just wanted them cleaned out. She took no payment except anything cool that she found in the barn. And she would... people would agree, yeah, if you find something cool, we don't think there's anything great in there. If there is, you can have it. It's yours. I'm sure probably papers were signed and that kind of thing. But what she found was a stack of really neat comics. I'd never seen such a short stack that had so many keys in it. Among them was, I forget issue numbers, but the Strange Tales issue, the first appearance of Doctor Strange was in there. The first Silver Age appearance of Aquaman was in there. and the you know, the famous Flash comic. I believe they had the first meeting of the Silver Age and Golden Age Flash. That was in there. Now those, I told her, those are your more pricey books. Well, what she was very kind. She let me take a couple of books out that I wanted to keep, just for telling her how much these were worth. But basically, told her what they were worth and what she had. She still has those books to this day, by the way. And I don't know, I think she's holding them back for her kids. But anyway, this is one I picked out because it was a number one, is a number one. It's a Charlton Comics number one from I'm looking. I got caught up in telling my story. 1968, the year I was born. It has a Dick Giordano cover, which I have to think is early. This is War Heroes number one. And it does have, you may not be able to read his name, but it says Giordano right down there. Actually, it says Dick Giordano. Okay. So anyway, Dick Giordano cover early on, War Heroes number one, 1968, Charlton Comics. And so that was a neat pull just for telling this lady what comics she had and how valuable they were, which was fun anyway. So got that one. And you know as well as I do these days, any Silver Age number one, especially one that was probably a more low print run comic than most comics back then, worth having, okay? All right, lastly, and this will tie up the series of 3 videos here. I've always been a big Rom Space Knight fan. Always been a big Sal Buscema fan. This is a book that I came upon over 10 years ago on eBay. I honestly don't remember how much I paid for it, but I do remember being ecstatic at getting it for the price I got it for. This is ROM number one. Well, you say, okay, Mark, well, I know ROM number one has gone up some in the last few years, but what's special about this ROM number one? Well, what's special about this ROM is that inside you have the signatures of Stan Lee, Sal Buscema, and Jim Shooter. And so that's what's special about this number one and about this ROM number one. No certificate of authenticity, though I feel very confident that those are, especially since I got this really, before COAs were that big of a deal. And I'm going to have those authenticated one day. But for the time being, I've just been enjoying having this and having the signatures of those 3 great creators on that first page of to me, what is such an important book. And so anyway, glad to have that in my collection. And the only the only signed book that I included in this series of 3 videos, because that is by far my favorite signed book. But anyway, that's it. Beginnings that I'm happy to have in my collection for this new year of 2022. If you like what you saw here, go ahead and hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, do so. And hit the notification bell, the notification bell, so you can get notifications when a new video comes out. Really glad to have my videos viewed. Really glad for people who return for more. That's a compliment to me. I appreciate it. My wish for you and for yours is that you have a great 2022, that it starts great and finishes even better. Okay? But until then, thanks for watching 4 Color Commentary, and we'll see you next video.